Hey, welcome back to another episode of This Week at Skye. Phil, you're joining us again. How are you?
Great, Ashley. How are you?
I'm well. Did you know it's financial planning week this week?
I knew. You know how I knew? Because you said it about 5 minutes ago. So thanks for letting me know.
You're breaking the illusion that we just come down here and have a chat.
Yeah. What is financial planning week?
Great question. Haven't really found the answer to that yet, but FAAA, one of our industry bodies, have set it up and have released some stats. So my idea is I'll have a look at that this week and maybe we can chat about some of those stats next week.
I actually think financial planning week is like a global thing.
Probably.
But I feel like everything once a week.
Yeah,
or a month or
we had Auditor Proud Week when I was in accounting, and
Say that again?
Auditor Proud Week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's the nerdiest thing I've ever heard.
But it's so bad they'd put it in the middle of our busy season, so like right when all of our major deadlines are, and everyone just...
No one's proud to be in an audit.
It's a great way to make
deadlines.
people angry.
Yeah. What would they do for Auditor Proud Week?
I don't know. I just remember being exhausted.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's basically, it feels like it's that for financial planning, and it's like everyone just wants a week. So it's our week this week.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Time to be financial planner.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on, what did you get up to last week?
Oh, I had a busy week. No, that's a banned word. We're not allowed.
You
was
banned
at
it.
Yeah, I did. I was at capacity last week. So it was a good week. What did I do? I had a few things on. I wrote it down. So I went to a Equity Mates live podcast recording on Wednesday night, which was good.
Did you get anyone to come along in the end?
No one came along. And yeah, I was in the city, and which you were in the city. I was about to crash your date, but I didn't. And so that was good. Catching up with the guys from Equity Mates and catching up with the guys from Bold Wealth, which Trent's good mates with them. And so caught up with them. So it was a good night, Wednesday night. My family were out, so I almost bailed on it because there was replacement trains to get to the city.
Ooh.
And I was so close to bailing. And then Trent said he could drive me into the city. So,
nice.
So I was like, okay, I can do that. So that was good. And then last week we had Lee from NEOS coming in. I had a few meetings with different insurers. So I met with Ange, which was good. And then had a big dog meeting, actually. There was a software provider called LifeBid who gathered all the executives from every life insurance company and all the big dealer groups in the country had the big
And is
dogs.
that you now?
Well, and I was invited, but I was the only one who came remotely because it was up in Sydney.
Oh.
And it was one of those meetings I was like, I really probably should have been there. And all these, big, serious, important players in the industry were in that meeting. But
And just looking at you on a screen.
I don't think they could actually see me, which was kind of good because I was in a hoodie as well. I couldn't have been any more disrespectful. But it was a good meeting, understanding what the software provider's doing and what they're trying to launch and just to make the life of all insurance advisors and insurers so much easier. So excited for what they're doing and hopefully there's some stuff coming out towards the end of the year, early next year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, what about you?
Fun to watch out for.
What was your week?
Had a pretty quiet week this week, but just wanted to shout out our colleague Neha, who is doing her professional year right now, and she's just finished her first quarter.
Yes, congratulations, Neha. We are actually going to, Potty was talking to Neha, and we're going to do more recordings with Neha going through the process because it's one of the things that, you went through the professional year last year, and it's good just to document it a bit more, like what did you learn? What did you have to do? What's the reflection that you've got to do at the end of the quarter? So we're going to do a bit more recordings on that.
Yes, I believe she's working on her reflection right now. So once that's done, it'd be great to get her down for some content.
Yeah.
So this week we have a few articles per usual to chat about. The first one we have is some more ASIC infringements, your favourite topic.
This article, someone reached out to me who I would like to give them a shout out, but I've never met this person before.
Wow.
But they sent an email to our just our generic inbox, hello@skye.com.au. about the infringement notice and saying, hey, Phil should do content on this because I've previously
You've now made a
whinged.
name for yourself.
Yeah, as a whinger.
Phil Financial Planning, ASIC infringement.
Yeah, complaints. Phil will whinge about stuff. So talk to me, what happened with Rest?
Yeah, look, I think this is a relatively valid complaint. Rest have been fined for misleading and deceptive conduct for issuing annual statements to 2,000 people indicating that they did have access to life insurance TPD when in actual fact they didn't for numerous reasons, whether that be because they declined it or cancelled it, they weren't meeting those criteria of, 25, 6,000 K they'd used it. And so misleading and deceptive conduct that the person may have looked like they had or could activate cover, but they actually couldn't.
Yeah. So the reason why someone sent it to me is because previously I've complained about we had an ASIC infringement. We had an advisor who was on the financial advisor register, but not a relevant provider. Now you can't be one without the other, but you've got to register them separately. And we got fined $31,500. So
that's not good math in comparison. 37,000 for 2,000 people affected compared to what was it, 3 semi-affected? It was still good advice.
Yeah, it was very few. But the reason this person sent it to me is because a few weeks ago or a few months ago, I did a compare the pair post because Australian Retirement Trust actually misled their 2.4 million members on their performance numbers, and so they only got fined $18,000 for these things. So Rest, mislead and charge 2,000 members premiums that they shouldn't have. ART, mislead every one of their members plus anyone who's looking at moving over there, misleading on their performance data. And we, little old Skye, don't tick an extra box. Lacking in consumer protections, and we get fined $31,000. So again, it's one of these funny things that someone sent it to me just to roll me up, and it doesn't take much to roll me up. But it was one of these things. Yes, that at the end of the day, Rest has got enough money; they would have refunded back any premiums that were paid, and they need to make sure they're doing the right thing. It is only 2,000 members out of 2 million members, so it's relatively small.
But it's still 2,000 people.
Yeah, and it would have literally just been an administrative error. But there's it for me, and a lot of financial advisors, we feel like we are unfairly targeted when you've got these massive industry funds that do sometimes unintentional admin errors. ART, in my mind, potentially intentionally misleading their performance data because that they know they're going to get a whole bunch of new members if they outperform the market. Anyway,
and you said
interesting
feel, but really when there's data like this, there's data behind those feelings. It's almost facts.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, good job Rest fixing it all up. Good job ASIC for keeping on top of these things.
The next article that we have is written in conjunction with Marshall Ross from Ascender, discussing people 63%, I think, was the stat I saw. 63% of people are spending their TPD full payout within 3 years. Now, before we started recording, you're telling me that you have some research that you've done, some updated stats.
Yeah, so Marshall talks about the average claim for TPD is around $600,000. Now, that's actually a little bit less than, he said the average payout, ranges from about $600,000 to $1 million. So one thing I would have a question, and we haven't chatted to Marshall about his numbers and data, is I wonder if that includes both group TBD payouts and advised payouts, because there is a big disparity between those numbers. So
yes.
Let me just get some data. So the average group policy for TBD, average finalised claim is $147,000 for TBD. So Ascender, they have a big group policy business. So their average on their group policy is $188,000 worth of claims. Now, the group average is $147,000. Now, within the advised policies, it's much higher. So the average advised policy is $726,000, and MLC's is 727. So basically bang on average. And so would be interesting to know if MLC kind of say that people extinguish those funds within 3 years across the board between group and retail, or if it is just the advice policies.
Yeah, that would definitely be good to have the clarity around. One of the things they do talk to or quote is some people saying that they wish they had access to regular income stream to accommodate that. And I was just thinking that's a good opportunity maybe for you to talk a little bit about our philosophy here and how we do our calculations for TPD?
Yeah, so the way we think about disability, if you're totally and permanently disabled, that's when you get a lump sum payment. You can never return to work again. The way we think about it is we want to replace your income. So if you're young and healthy, your loss of income, if you could never work again, is massive, like millions of dollars, even on a average or modest income. And so we want to think about, we want to cover income protection plus that TPD is the gap between what your income protection can pay you, which is 75% versus and your actual income. So we want to cover 100% of your income because you can get income protection and disability paid at the same time.
One of the things that I often will say to start my meeting with, because we show clients what they do already have in super. Most people have default levels of cover, which does sit, between that 100,000, 300,000 mark, is just saying to them, look how low this amount of TPD is, because 100,000 for the rest of your life, no wonder you're going to spend that all in 3 years. It was, the article headline was very sort of clickbaity in comparison to what, if you are seeing a financial advisor, you'd only presume the outcome would be very different.
Yeah. Now, the reason Ascender are talking about this, you always got to, I'm a skeptical human being. So I always go, what products are they trying to sell? And then what data are they using to sell that product? So they have come out with a new TPD product. Now, we haven't done a deep dive on that new TPD product just yet. And there's lots of changes, like, every insurance company will come out with something probably by the end of the year, if not early next year. I think the way they've designed their TPD product is to try and manage that. How do we get higher sums insured, but for more severe TPD events? So I think that's kind of the push is, all right, we can actually get you higher sums insured with these limited option TPDs. But
that makes sense, because towards the end of the article, he goes on to say, advisors should really consider da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, our clients, if you're young and you've got a reasonable income, we're going to recommend around, 1.2 to $1.7 million worth of disability cover, because
plus
again,
with the income protection working at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And we factor in mortgages and all of these things, which is different for everyone. But we believe that even that 726,000, which is the average amount, that's still probably undercooking most people's needs.
Low to me.
When you think about the average mortgage in Australia, or even if you pre-mortgage, how much cover do you need to buy a house? So there's a lot. In terms of sustainability and cost with TPD, it's a massive thing that'll continue to be talked about. But for me, just get more TPD cover.
Yeah.
Because if you are disabled and you can never return to work again, $147,000 is garbage. If I were to go on a massive rant, I won't go on a massive one, but I'll go on a little tangent here. This is why I actually get really frustrated with the ASIC's Money Smart website. So they manage it and they put claim statistics on there, which is really important. APRA, they gather these claims data, they gather like claims acceptance rates, all of this stuff. One thing I really wish they did was the average claim amount. Again, not to be disrespectful, who cares if an insurance company's average claims rate is 95 versus 96%? At the end of the day, that doesn't really impact me whether I can get claimed or not. It's really the level of cover. Now, I know the level of cover is always the choice of the policyholder. You can always increase your level of cover potentially, but showing those averages between group policies versus advised policies is really important in my mind.
There's a different level of incentive to go and get through that claim process for the individual as well, depending on the amount that they're...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
got covered for.
So yeah, I want if ASIC, I'm sure you're not listening because
You haven't gotten in trouble
yeah,
yet.
because I haven't been told off yet. But it'd be good to have the average claims rate, rates because it gets published literally every quarter. We can see it. I can see it. I just downloaded it. Those numbers are from April's claims stats for the last 12 months. It gets updated every quarter. Why aren't we showing that on the Money Smart website? But anyway, that's my rant over.
Moving on before you get more ranty again, we have client stories. This week we're doing something a little bit different.
Yes,
we
we
have
are.
so many brilliant advisors here. I'm not the only one with client stories, so we have Azaria to come chat to us. How are you going, Azaria?
I'm very good, thanks guys. How are you?
I'm good. We hear you have a client story to share with us.
So we had a client recently apply for life, TPD, trauma and income protection cover. She went through the application process and we actually ended up getting TPD and income protection declined, which we didn't expect to happen.
Oof, that sounds like fun. All right, so what were the issues?
So there were a couple of issues. The number one issue was that she'd actually changed jobs throughout the application process, which often does cause trouble. The actual change to her job was fine. It was just that she was only doing 18.75 hours per week, whereas with income protection, you need to be doing 20 hours a week. So that kind of ruled her out there. And the second thing was that on the side, she actually took a job doing a casual role as a CrossFit instructor, which isn't covered under the insurer's kind of occupations that they insure. So unfortunately, that ruled her out for both of those covers, which were actually the main policies that she was looking for. But there was something we were able to do to get that all fixed up.
Okay, cool. What did you do?
So I got on the phone with the client and just asked a bit more information to make sure we weren't missing anything. As it turned out, she was actually just about to go to full-time hours and she was just waiting on the contract to come through. So on that sense, she was fine. For the CrossFit work, I just asked her for a few more details around that and she quickly jumped in and said, I can see where the misunderstandings happened. I'm not actually doing any of the exercises or actions. I'm more just standing at the front of the class and talking through what they'll be doing, but I'm not getting out there on the floor. I'm not doing any squats, any push-ups or anything like that. It's purely just kind of standing there and giving instructions. So we used that information, went back to the underwriter, and they actually said, in that case, that's fine. We can offer income protection in TPD. What we'll do is we'll just put a second occupation exclusion on those policies, meaning that if she did claim as a result of something that happened in her job as a CrossFit instructor, then that wouldn't be covered, which is fair and pretty standard because they don't cover that occupation to start with. But yeah, she could still get standard cover as soon as that new contract for full-time hours went into place, which was awesome.
Oh, how good. Is there anything else that you want to share that you think would be helpful?
Yeah, the other thing I'd probably add is when we get those outcomes, sometimes there is just missing information. Sometimes having a bit more clarification on the actual duties of an occupation can be really important. So your job title might not actually always reflect exactly what you're doing. So the more information you can give in your fact find, the more information you can give to the insurer can ensure that you get the right occupation rating and can avoid potential declines due to misunderstandings.
Awesome. Thanks heaps for sharing, Azza. Now, a little bit off topic. We've got our Skye 1,000-kilometre ride coming up in 2 weeks' time. How are you going preparing? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm going for a bike ride tonight.
Well, it's only 2 weeks away.
I know, crazy. I'll be doing a bunch of rides next week and then, trying to do like a few big trips in the actual ride week so I can knock it all out. Because I think poor Nat is not feeling super well. She might not be able to do a whole lot of Ks, so the rest of us might have to pick up the pace a little bit there.
Yeah, I am not looking forward to that, but we may be able to get Ash on a bike to help us out.
Look, cycling is not for me. I'm just going to have to let you guys suffer on your own. Sorry.
Cool. Thanks, Ash. Appreciate your help.
Amazing. Thanks so much for joining us, Azaria. We'll see you soon.
Thank you guys for having me.
See ya. All right, now for Ash's Baking Corner, we've got something special.
Skye team's ready, forks in hand. Ash's baking takes the stand.
What have we got here, Ashley? These look amazing.
So this week we have custard and coconut Norwegian buns.
And we've got a new taster.
New special guest.
Matthew, welcome. Matthew's, you're one of our associates, our newest associate.
Yep.
Welcome to the team. Do you know the rules of you've got to taste it and you've got to give it a rating out of 10?
Okay.
And if I think you're being dishonest, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Which one are you going to pick?
Go to this
Oh,
one.
that looks good. That's my favourite. I'll pick this one.
I should have brought plates down for everyone because there's coconut
this is
going
gonna be
everywhere.
messy, but that's all good. What are we thinking, Matt?
I think it's very good. It's sort of like a donut, which I like.
Okay, you're a donut guy.
I'm a big donut guy.
It's kind of you need to buy. You got to get in to the middle.
Yeah, you don't get
can't
the
not.
custard.
You can't not
Yeah.
get custard. We can't judge until you have a bit of custard. These are good. Keep committing to being kind, but all right, let's
Got
go,
some
Matt.
custard.
Moment of truth.
I'm going to go an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Is this better than a donut or worse than a donut?
Ooh, depends on the donut, I guess.
Okay.
But I'm going to say it's better just because I like the custard.
I committed to be kind. That's my commitment to you, actually. Because watching these back with my girls, they like to watch it. I realise that I come across as not very kind. Maybe because I'm not very kind. I value honesty and truth and integrity more than I do kindness and feelings. But I actually think I wouldn't go 8. I think that's a bit too generous.
Okay.
Because I was getting donut feels and vibes, and I'm a big donut guy as well, but I wouldn't say it's as good as a donut. I reckon that...
How can I change your expectations? I come in and I tell you I have a bun, and then you go donut,
No, it's true.
but it's just a bun.
No, it's true, but
That's on you.
the icing and Matt said donut as well, so it got donut in my head. Thanks, Matt. I reckon 7.5. It's really good. I would definitely go back again. And maybe it's a me problem. I agree with you. It's a me problem. My expectations were wrong.
So I'll give my honest self-review
Mm-hmm.
now and tell you some of the behind-the-scenes fiascos I had. I go to a grocer when I'm making these buns to get fresh yeast. They didn't have any. The order hadn't come in yet. So I had my first fresh yeast to dry yeast conversion.
So
And
what is that?
You can buy dry yeast.
Yeah.
The recipe has everything in fresh yeast
Okay.
weights.
Yeah.
So I needed to do a conversion.
Okay.
I
Didn't
think I
work?
got it right. So lots to learn. Didn't quite go as I hoped it would. Personally, I have an aftertaste of the yeast, but that's probably because I'm looking out for a little bit.
You are.
But
It's a little dry. Is it meant to be? Like, is that the?
they're drier than I expected them to
Okay.
turn out. Which
You
I think,
agree?
which I think has something to do with the
yeast.
There was some accommodations I needed to make because it was proving really quickly. So I had to chuck it in the fridge. Just
Sorry, I'm a
was a
novice. What do you
mess.
mean proving? What are you talking about?
when you use yeast, you need to let things sit and rest for a while so the yeast can do its thing and activate.
Yes,
that
I
was
know
happening
that.
really, really quickly.
Got it.
So I chucked it in the fridge, and just, the
Ooh,
timing of things
okay.
it was a whirlwind.
It's good. It's
They're
really
very
good.
tasty though.
It's very, very
I'm happy
tasty.
with it. I give it a 7.
A 7. So you're worse than me. Good. I like it. All right. Well, thank you, Matthew. Appreciate you taking the time to come and rate Ash's, what were they? Norwegian custard bun? Oh, nailed it. Yeah.
Ashes bacon takes the stand.
So this week coming up, I am going to be chatting to all of our clients that I've had go through the process before and just finding out what's going on. One of the good things about insurance is that it's not a fixed set in time. If you come to us and it's not quite the right time or some personal circumstances come up, then maybe 6, 12, 24 months down the line, it might be the right time again. So I'm going to be chatting to all the clients that I've had advice meetings with in the past just to check in, see if their situations have changed. Hopefully I don't come across as too pushy or anything. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I think insurance is important, not urgent.
No.
I was actually talking to my next door neighbour who's now just become a client of ours. And yeah, she was like, oh yeah, it's literally been like my daughter, Willow, went and said, hey, do you need insurance? Come and get insurance from
Oh
Skye.
my goodness, I forgot you said you...
Yeah. So once that settles, I'll share exactly what the deal was. Yes, and she was like, that was like 3 years ago, and it's just like, and then a year and a half ago, they went to their old advisor to see what was going on, and then they kind of just didn't get back to them, and then finally a year later came to us. So insurance is one of those things. It's really important, but it's just rarely urgent. Life gets in the way. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, and we understand that with our clients.
There's a lot of paperwork to do. If you have something else come up at the same time, for example, I have a client who's just started going through divorce at the same time after the advice meeting. So I suspect I'll likely be reaching out to him again in 12 months' time.
Yeah, yes. Divorce, more important than just setting out your life insurance.
Little bit. Yeah. How
For
about
me,
you?
what I've got coming up, I am going to Brisbane for 2 days with Trent and Taz, and because it's in Brisbane, Azaria is coming. So we're doing a quarterly strategic planning 2-day session. So we kind of try and do an offsite at least for 1 day every quarter. But this, we're going to Brisbane, and we're doing it with a business coaching group called Slipstream something. And yeah, so it's a 2-day offsite, which will be good. Yeah, I actually don't know. We've got some homework we've got to do, and it was meant to be done last week, by like middle of last week, and I've still yet to finish it. So
Yep.
yeah, so I've got to do my homework
Deadlines.
before that. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's coming up for me this week.
That'll be interesting. Look forward to hearing more about it next week.
Yeah.
That's everything for this week. So, per usual, got some content coming out this week. We have a Skye Simplifies discussing the benefit period. What does that mean? We got a deep dive with Azaria talking about what happens if you need to go on claim before your insurance starts. Skye Myths, which are always so funny to watch. I always like to share them with people and they're like, oh, you work in financial advice, must be so serious.
Yep.
I say, here's my boss and my manager, not quite. Another Taz talk, this time with Ruby, one of our associates, and then a blog on disclosures.
Yes, so we did a deep dive with Lenny the other day, and we've got a blog explaining that in a bit more detail. And it's helpful because me and Cole, she changed her last name, we were talking about disclosures this morning and having a tricky case with a client where we're like, do we need to inform the insurance company? Do we not? Like, where's the line? And so, our blog is really helpful for anyone going through the insurance process, or if you've gone through it in the past, just understanding what the obligations are and where the line sits between you need to tell the insurance company or not.
I'll definitely be having a read through and watch of all of that stuff because it is a very blurry line.
Yes.
That's all for this week. If you've enjoyed this content or if there's more content that you want to watch, that's all going to be up on the screen for you. Bye-bye now.